Okay, so this is really just, I've just laid out some cards. I'm just gonna put this at the beginning of all of the videos, just to let you guys know what the June spread actually is like. So I'm just gonna walk you through that here at the beginning so that you know what the spread covers, what each of the cards is going to represent. Then after this, I'm gonna film the pre-shuffle because I've had several people actually request that. I'm not sure why, but I'm going to do that, and I'll probably just speed it up just because I can't imagine anyone wants to sit and watch however long it takes for all the cards to come out. But I will actually film that and play that as well following this, and then we'll go into the actual reading. So if you don't want to watch that, I'm gonna put some time markers up for you guys here at the beginning so that you know where things are during the actual reading itself. And with that explained, I'm going to walk you guys through the cards. So we're going to be starting here on the side. This card number 1 is going to represent the overall energy for the reading, and then we're going to work from the left across to the right. And so it's going to be card number 1, and then card number 2 will actually be the card on top. These cards here on the top, so these 4 cards here, these cards are specific to the sign. So whichever sign I'm doing in the video, the top 4 cards, so these cards here, those are going to represent the sign itself. So these 4 here on the bottom are going to represent the other person. So for example, if you are watching your own sun, moon, Venus, or rising sign video, then these top 4 cards are going to be the cards that relate to you. The bottom 4 cards would be the card related to the other person that you're thinking about, or that you maybe are involved with, or want to be involved with, or were involved with. Hopefully that makes sense. For the cross watchers who are watching, it's going to be the same thing. These top 4 cards are going to be specific to the actual person whose sign you're watching. And the bottom 4 cards are going to be related to you. You would be the other in the situation, the cross watcher. So let me explain what these cards represent. So this row here, this is going to be the sign's current energy, the other person's current energy. This is going to be the sign's underlying issue or fear, the other person's underlying issue or fear. This is going to represent the sign's obstacle, the other person's obstacle. This is going to be the sign's desired outcome, the other's desired outcome. And this card here on the end is the advice or guidance card. So that's going to be how the spread itself works for this month. I am only doing 1 reading per sign for the entire month of June. And then during the month, I'm going to do some other readings as well, some like pick a card readings, some spreads that are specific to, should I reach out? Are they going to come back? Is this person the one? I just want to do more of those readings. So I'm just going to do 1 monthly love reading for each sign for June. And that is how that's going to work. So with that explained, now I'm going to clear these cards away. And we will actually move right into the pre-shuffle. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start talking about the pre-shuffle because a lot of the cards didn't come out until the end, and I want to have time to talk to you guys about everything. The first card that's going to come out is going to be the Hierophant, and that was reversed. I feel like you've reached a space in which you're no longer really seeking approval for going after what it is that you want, even though other people might sort of be giving you a hard time, saying that's not the path you should take. In a way, it's like you're sort of breaking the rules and trying things in a different way than you have in the past, and I think that's a good thing. After the Hierophant, the Wheel of Fortune came out. That was upright. I think it's just reinforcing that this is a time for change and finishing out cycles. You had 2 cards that come out together that I'm going to go ahead and talk about here, because you had the 7 of Wands reversed and 7 of Swords reversed. I think what this felt like to me is you are getting a lot of criticism from others, and that could lead to you doubting yourself and your choices, but I think you should just keep going and doing things your own way. Just be careful that you're being realistic with yourself and you know exactly why you're doing what you're doing. The last card out was a World upright. I think this is just emphasizing that perseverance is going to pay off for you and you're going to accomplish exactly what you set out to do. Hi Libras, welcome to your general reading for June 2019. As you just saw, I did the pre-shuffle and I've discussed those cards with you guys already. We're actually going to move right into the general reading, but before I do that, I just wanted to say thank you to you guys for all of the views and comments and likes on the last round of videos. You guys were the second most watched video, and I appreciate it so much. Everyone that took the time to leave comments or to give the video a thumbs up. I just really do appreciate that. It makes it feel like I'm not just sitting alone in my apartment doing these readings. It makes it feel like I'm actually doing them for someone. So I appreciate it a lot. And if you are new here and you have not seen one of my videos before, I hope that you will take a moment when you are done to subscribe to the channel. I would love to see this channel grow and have more people subscribe, because I would love to see you guys actually interact with each other in the comments and actually feel like there's a little bit of a sense of community. So since I did the pre-shuffle earlier, these cards are ready to go. I'm just going to take the cards straight off the top of the deck. I'm going to put them down into the alignment that I covered at the beginning of the video. I hope you guys have been doing well, but we will see what the cards have to say here. My life has been a little bit crazy. I've been having tons of issues with friends lately. It's kind of bizarre. It's just been like a bit of a stressful time for me. So let's see how you guys are doing though. And again, if you guys have any comments about the videos, if you love the new way that I'm filming, or you hate it, you don't want to see certain things, let me know. I'm trying to take some of the suggestions and requests and trying to make everyone happy as best as possible. So, but I do enjoy hearing the feedback. So I just want to get that out of the way here at the top. So let's jump into the reading and see what's going on. So the first card is going to be the overall energy for you guys. And we have the Hierophant. This came out during the pre-shuffle as well. So you know, energetically off of this, what I'm actually feeling here is, Libra, I feel like recently you've invested a lot of time and effort in your own spiritual development, and not just your development, but actually the study. You're very focused on learning different aspects of spirituality. This could mean that you are going through, you know, certain types of training, or it could just mean that you're, you know, just reading books or exploring a certain type of technique or theory that is of interest to you. I do feel like this is something though that this isn't like a hobby. It's not the energy of a hobby. What this feels like is, so energetically what I'm feeling right now, and I was not feeling this way before starting the reading, it feels like a pressure. It feels like whatever's been going on, whatever you've been going through, whatever you've experienced, led you to this point of almost having like a spiritual awakening. So for some of you, I feel like maybe, you know, things like, you know, an ego death or dark night of the soul, that sort of heaviness led to you seeking answers, and you're in a very exploratory sort of space with this. For others of you, I feel like what led to this was actually a heartbreak. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say for most of you who are going to be watching this video, for those of you who have stayed with the video and are hearing me now, for most of you, this was a heartbreak. For a smaller amount of you, this was something that was really sort of a life-altering, you know, upheaval on the scope of being on the edge of questioning everything, questioning your existence, your purpose, really trying to seek out answers for those things, and realizing that those answers weren't necessarily going to be found through any sort of like, I'm definitely feeling sort of like, not necessarily a rejection of like therapy, but a feeling that maybe like therapy hasn't been enough. Therapy hasn't been giving you the results or the answers or the insight that you feel that you need. And so you've turned to this very, I mean, it just feels like this intense study of spirituality or spiritual concepts or religions. Regardless of what the catalyst was, I do feel like this is where, this is the overall energy for you right now. This is sort of your, this is the big deal. This is the thing that you are really focused on. Now, it's interesting because, you know, this is designed to be a love reading, and I'm curious, even after, you know, the pre-shuffle cards, I'm curious to see how this plays out, because right now I'm not necessarily feeling there being anyone else in this. Like I said, for a lot of you, I feel like, you know, there was something that just recently ended. So perhaps that's what's going to come out for this other person. But I'm curious to see, you know, what's happening here. So Libra, let's take a look at your personal current energy, which I feel like this was really, this energy here on this card, like I said, feels very solo. So I'm curious to see what this is going to be. Okay, so coming out, we have the Five of Pentacles. It did come out reversed. Now, this card for me, you know, traditionally this card talks about financial loss, recovering from a financial loss, being in the process of recovering from that. And perhaps that's something that's going on. But for me, as a reader, this card also speaks to a sort of a lack of that core spiritual foundation. It can be almost like a, you know, like when you're thirsty and you just need water. It's that spiritual thirst. It's having that, it's what I was saying earlier. It's having that feeling that there's something that you are lacking, and trying to find what it is that's going to make that feeling go away, that feeling of lack or emptiness. It's so interesting because these two cards together, it just feels like something really heavy happened. And I'm trying to remember now, like the last reading I did for you guys, like I know it's hard for me to remember them exactly, but I do remember that one was about like these two people who had this misunderstanding that led them to both sort of give up and walk away. I'm wondering if this reading is a continuation of that reading. That doesn't always happen where, you know, it's a, you know, the readings don't necessarily go into like a, an order like that. The readings tend to happen where whoever needs to hear the messages, that's what the reading is focused on, the people who will eventually find this video and watch it. But I'm feeling like this might be a continuation of that one, because that energy makes sense here. So let's take a look here, which this card should represent the other person and their current energy. So here we have the Hermit, and that did come out reversed. I mean, this is Virgo energy. I just want to reference that just in case that resonates with anyone watching. It doesn't have to mean that it's a Virgo that you're dealing with. When the Hermit card comes out reversed, the Hermit card for me, when it's upright, it's actually a good card. It just means that you're taking time to sort of do some soul searching or some, you know, reflection about things. But when it's reversed, this is really where this other person is really isolating themselves. They have pulled all of their energy away. They've withdrawn. They're not really interacting with people. They're not returning texts. They're not taking phone calls. They're doing the bare minimum of what they have to do. So it's like they're getting up and they're going to work and they're coming home and that's it. They're not they're not connecting with people. It's a very heavy energy of just really, this feels very depressed, isolated, extremely sad. Like sad is, sorrow is more the word. This person feels sorrowful. And this other person, I feel like this is not something that's unique for them. I feel like this space that they're in of being very isolated and withdrawn, this is something that has consistently happened with them, I would say for most of their life, but specifically, as long as you have known them, Libra, you have seen this cycle sort of repeat with them, where it's almost like they can only make so much progress, they can only manage to heal themselves so much, and then it's like something happens and very quickly they go back into this very deep depression. And I sense that part of this energy from these first two cards is about this person. I feel like you are looking for answers yourself, Libra, but additionally, you're hoping to find answers about this person. You're hoping to find a way to help them. You're looking for what it is that you need to do in order to help this person shift. Now, I don't want to get too far into, like I'm hearing okay. What this sounds like to me, I heard to just go ahead and say this. So I'm going to go ahead and say this before seeing any of the other cards. What this feels like to me is a soulmate connection, potentially, if you believe in this, potentially a twin flame type of connection. Libra, I feel like you have realized that the connection between you and this other person, there is a lot of mirroring that goes on. The two of you mirror each other quite a bit. And I feel like what you're searching for, what you've sort of become almost obsessed with, is trying to find an answer to what you can do, either shifting something or changing something within yourself that will then shift this person. And that's not how it works, really. And we can talk about that a little bit later, depending on what the cards say, but you can't change this person. You have to focus on you and focus on the things that you need to shift and the things that you need to develop and the things that you need to let go of, the healing that you need to do. That is your work. That's what you need to focus on. This person has to do that for themselves as well. And you know, a lot of times people think, well, if I make changes, if I do these things, then they'll do it as well. And that's not necessarily true. They have free will and they have their own timeline and they've had their own experiences leading up to where they're at when they've met you. So it's not a direct correlation in that, you know, you make a shift, they make a shift, you make a shift, they make a shift. It's maybe you make a shift, you have another one and another one and another one, and then finally they have a little breakthrough, but they're still lagging behind you. And you can't pause your life, or you can't prioritize them ahead of yourself. You have to be the priority for you. You have to do your work, and hopefully they will do theirs, but you aren't in control of that. You have no direct impact on that. You have to focus on you and living your life and making that life be the best life possible for you, regardless of this person and what they do or do not do. Okay? I just felt like that was something that needed to be said. let's take a look now at what's going on as far as an underlying fear or issue for you, Libra. So we have the Queen of Pentacles that did come out reversed. What I'm getting from this card is not necessarily, like energetically, I don't necessarily sense that it's a financial concern. This card actually, in terms of anything related to finance, is actually someone who's pretty financially independent, meaning they don't have anyone else that they're needing to care for. They're just sort of solo. They don't, depend on anyone, and no one's depending on them. They're sort of on their own. What I feel from this more so, though, is just there's a fear that if you focus on yourself, if you focus on taking care of yourself, that you're somehow not taking care of this person. And it's interesting that's the card that came out, because it's sort of what I just said. Like, you have to, at this point, focus on you. You have to focus on taking care of yourself. You have to focus on figuring out your next steps and mapping out where you want to go, and the things that you want to experience, the things that you want to see. I feel like this might not be for everyone, but I feel like this is really important to say. For some of you, your entire life up to this point has revolved around taking care of other people and not having yourself be a priority. And that has to shift. You have to figure out how to prioritize yourself and make your needs and your wishes be important to you, because I feel like they've taken a back seat for a long time. If that resonates with you, then take that. If that doesn't ring true for you, then that's just for a certain group of you that are watching. I want to take a look at the underlying fear or issue of this other person. Oh, wow. So we have the Moon card, and this did come out upright. Now, this the Moon card does represent Pisces. Doesn't necessarily mean that this person is a Pisces. It could just mean energetically, Pisces energy. This person, however, their biggest fear and issue is really about trusting their own intuition. They have a lot of fear and anxiety around trusting in themselves and trusting what they feel. They question their feelings a lot. And I think this is part of what happened. And I do feel like this is a continuation of that other reading. So if you're listening to this and you haven't seen the other Libra video, go back to the Libra video. It was for the first half of May, because I didn't do readings for the second half. And it was something about a big misunderstanding was in the title. Go back and watch that video, because I do feel like this is a continuation of that, because this person just, if they feel like they're happy, if they feel like they're in love, they question it. They question whether they're worthy of it. They question whether it's real. They question whether the other person is sincere. They question whether they're being played. They question whether it'll last. They get very much in their head, and it creates a lot of fear and anxiety within them. And so their biggest fear is actually about their intuition, because I feel like this person is someone who they really have a very strong intuitive aspect of themselves. They're very intuitive. They do get a lot of intuitive hits. They do get a lot of guidance. And because of the intensity of that for them, it scares them. And they don't want to trust it. They sort of push it away. This is one of the things that has really caused a lot of this energy, because I don't feel like, Libra, I don't feel like this is necessarily how you are. I feel like you are someone that, I don't know if you would necessarily say you get guidance, or, you're intuitive. But you're someone who would definitely say, like, I trust my gut. I'm a good read of people. And you sort of expect that from other people as well. This person is like that, but they question it so much, and it sort of makes them lock up and freeze when they have that sort of really strong pull towards another person, or where they really feel like they're being guided towards something. It freaks them out. So let's look at the obstacle here. So this would be, Libra, your obstacle in terms of this self-care. What's getting in the way of you being able to just embrace that and prioritize yourself? So interesting. We have the Sun. Now, this card is an amazing card to have come out. This is joy and success and happiness, and things going how you want them to go, and life being really positive. I think that what this means in terms of this being your obstacle is that you have a fear of having things going really well. I think that when things are going really well, what happens is you feel like you have to do something to keep it going, or you somehow have to earn it. And so what happens instinctively is you start to try to, like, make sure this person doesn't do something that's going to mess us up, and make sure this person stays on track, and you're trying to make sure that this person doesn't come back in to cause issues. And so instead of actually living that life and experiencing that life and being happy with that life and really feeling like, you're in it, you're managing the life instead of living it. Now, the obstacle for this other person, so this is in this deck, it's the Princess of Wands, but this would be considered the Page of Wands. And this did come out reversed. So I think for this person, the obstacle in their path is really about them not believing in themselves. They feel like they have a lot of doubt that goes beyond not trusting their intuition. They actually don't trust themselves. They have a lot of beliefs about themselves that are negative. And it's a lot of really, I'm hearing just sort of some of the things that they say about themselves, and it's not even negative self-talk, it's self-hate. The thoughts that they have about themselves they come from things that others have said to them that they've internalized and amplified. So whatever the initial, like if someone said to them, I'm just going to use an example of, you're not as smart as your sister. I'm just going to use that as an example. That initial thing of not being as smart as, some people could look at that and say, well, maybe I'm not as smart as my sister, but I'm still smart. But this person took that you're not as smart as your sister, and they turned that into you're stupid. It's that sort of thing where whatever the initial thing that was said, they've amplified that over the years so much and internalized it so much that their inner thinking is not just like negative self-talk, it's really venturing on like self-hate. That's really intense energy coming off this card, and I can understand why that would be a huge obstacle for them to try to overcome, because that's hard for someone to break out of that. And if you are looking for a way to potentially help this person, this is something that they're going to have to really spend some time working on. Shadow work, traditional therapy, those are sort of the things that I would recommend for this person in order to be able to break out of that, because that energy that's intense. So Libra, let's look at what your desired outcome is here. So we have Judgment coming out reversed. This is an interesting card in terms of A desired outcome. Um, you know, that card on its own is really, it's sort of what I just described going on with this person. It's a lot of self-doubt and that inner critic sort of like going a little bit crazy. And so I feel like energetically, this is less about you. I think that this is actually, the card is actually saying that you're aware of this about this other person. Like, you know that about them. You know what they do to themselves and how they talk to themselves. And I think the desired outcome for you is you really just want to figure out how to help them stop. And, you know, it goes back to what I was saying earlier, like, they have to be willing and able to change and be willing and able to do that work before it can lead to anything. Like, your desire to help them might be able to give them a little bit more confidence or maybe make them feel a little bit safer to actually explore it. But unless they really dive into it themselves and it's something that they're really invested in, you don't have the power to just do that work for them. It's a lot of work. This is a lot of spiritual work that they would need to do. Like, I just heard like role model. So what I'm going to say here is, maybe by you exploring and really diving in and learning a lot about spirituality and learning different things and different theories and maybe finding, you know, someone that really fits, you know, what you want and how you want your life to be, and really embracing that. And perhaps maybe seeing you do that and seeing the positive changes that happen within you might motivate this person or give them a little bit of encouragement to, you know, start putting their own effort in. So I think that is sort of what you're looking for here, you know, and it's a very selfless, you know, desire. You know, it's not even like you're looking at this and saying, I want this relationship to work. I want this person to, you know, want me. I want this person to fall in love. You're just wanting this person to be better. You're just wanting them to not hurt so much. And that's really lovely. I think that that's beautiful. So the other person, let's look at their desired outcome. We have the Two of Pentacles. This did come out upright. The way I'm going to interpret this card, the energy that is actually coming off the card is, I just feel like this person wants to be able to not second guess themselves. I feel like with any decision this person has to make, it feels like if they make a pro and a con list, they're dead even. If they try to, you know, follow their gut, they feel torn completely between whatever the options are. And this has been something that they've dealt with their whole life. And I think that they know that a lot of that stems from how little faith they have in their own abilities and their own, you know, intuition and their own intelligence and their own capability just to, you know, care for themselves. This person has a lot of doubt and insecurity. And they're aware that because of that, they just, making even the simplest decision, making even, you know, a very simple choice about what they're going to do with their day just becomes so overwhelming, and they become so anxious about trying to do it that they just don't do anything. They just don't leave the house. And what they want really more than anything is just to be able to break out of that, to free themselves of that energy, and to be able to not feel like everything is just so, you know, at odds with one another in terms of making any decision and trying to, like, you know, it's like, it's not even like they're trying to balance priorities. It's just every priority feels like it's equal. And so nothing is standing out to them as being a priority or something they should really focus on. So let's take a look at the guidance and advice card here. So we have the Hanged Woman that did come out upright. Okay, so the camera cut out. I'm just going to go back to this card. What I was saying is, with the Hanged Woman as the advice guidance, I don't feel like this is necessarily something that's going to go on for a long time. I know a lot of times people, when this card comes out, they feel like it means like long delays, and that's not what I'm getting off this card at all. What I am getting from this card, though, is it's more of what happens after the hanged man or hanged woman. It's this energy of letting go. I feel like what's happening is the advice here is saying, Libra specifically to you, you have to let go of your feelings of obligation or feelings of responsibility for this other person. They are responsible for themselves. Part of what will help them realize that they are responsible for themselves is having you let go of some of that responsibility, some of that caretaking that you're doing. And it's not necessarily that they are trying to take advantage of you. It's that they question themselves and doubt themselves so much and so intensely that when someone comes along who's willing to make decisions for them or take things over or take charge or be the leader, they just naturally will be like, thank God someone is here to do this because I can't do it. But they can do it. They just need to see that they can. So letting go of that caretaking, letting go of that responsibility that you have towards this person doesn't mean that you have to abandon them. It doesn't mean you have to like walk away from them, but you have to shift how you're helping them. Instead of saying, I'll take care of it, sit down with them and say, okay, here's what's going on. What do you think we should do? And helping them to actually develop some of those critical thinking skills and learning to trust themselves. And, even if you think what they say they should do isn't correct, being willing to just, walk through that process with them or go out and do the thing. And if it goes wrong, letting them know like, okay, well, that didn't work, but that doesn't mean that this is a failure. Like, we've learned a lesson here. You've learned something that you didn't know before. So that didn't work. What's our plan B? What's the next thing that we can do? Because Libra, I feel like you naturally think this way. You naturally approach life in this way, and this other person doesn't. This other person doesn't have that sort of mindset. And so if you can help them understand that, if you can help them learn that and actually go through it with them, letting them do the thinking, letting them do the work, and you're just there as support for them, that's what this card is saying, actually, is you have to let go of what you've been doing. You have to stop trying to save this person from themselves and let them mess up, but be there to pick them back up and dust them off and say, you're still good. Let's, move on from this. Like, just having you there to be that type of person for them, I think will make a big amount of difference for them. I think it will help soothe some of the energy that I feel from you, the worrying and sort of like heavy responsibility nature of it. And I think also it will help to it'll build a nice foundation for whatever might happen in the future. Like, who knows? You guys might end up as, getting back together. You guys might end up as really close friends. You might end up going your own separate ways. But regardless, being there for this person in this way will set up a foundation where you'll always be someone who they'll see as being really important to them and someone who actually really helped them out a lot. I think that is a good place to stop. I just want to say again, thank you so much for all of the support on the last videos. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I am doing things a little bit differently. I'm trying, a little bit different format for just like the editing and the content. So please take a moment if you see this video and you've made it this far to the end, just to leave a comment, give the video a thumbs up or a like, and subscribe to the channel. If you do want YouTube to let you know when new video content goes up, make sure that you also click the bell icon when you subscribe, because that's what lets them know to let you know about new content. And like I said at the top, I am going to be doing a couple of different readings during the month. So this is the love reading for the entire month of June, but I will be doing other readings along the way that are not necessarily sign specific, but are just, I think I'll do a twin flame reading. I think I'm going to do, just, will they, for people who are in like no communication right now, will they reach out? Should I reach out? Those types of readings. I feel very drawn to doing those sorts of things right now. And I think those are the things that people are really dealing with. So that's going to be my focus for June. That's going to be it. And I do hope that you guys have a great June. And again, like, please, please, please take a moment just to leave a comment and let me know what you guys think.